out at least a little bit of history. And it's something that we need to think about. It's something that usually doesn't get taught in school, but it's something potentially on the horizon that we need to think about. When the Second World War started in late 1941, and then in early 1942, Congress passed and the President of the United States signed an executive order interning well over 100,000 Japanese immigrants and Japanese American citizens without due process, without any of their constitutionally guaranteed rights. And they ended up in internment camps for several years. And people are already beginning to talk about maybe we need to do something like that again. And sometimes my students have said to me, well, they can't do that, can they? And so the history matters. I mean, ultimately the Supreme Court and other legal bodies several years after the fact realized that had been wrong, and Ronald Reagan, of all people, President Ronald Reagan, agreed to pay reparations to cover some of the loss that some of those families suffered. But nonetheless, the damage was done. People were pulled out of school, people lost their homes, their businesses. When they went back to the communities that they had formerly lived in, other people had squatted in their houses, taken over their stores, and they didn't get them back. They were essentially deprived of their lives and their livelihoods, and that happened, and that's not so long ago. So it's worth keeping in mind. Two other things that are more positive. I did two things yesterday that in some ways only could happen in Lowell. Both are unique and both show the power of the city when we figure out that we have more in common and our strength is in our unity. I was at a party yesterday just up the road in the morning celebrating the fact that the cafeteria workers, the food service workers at the university, after a struggle that's lasted almost a year, have won a union. And the workforce, the food service workforce at UMass Lowell is as diverse as any workforce one could find anywhere, I would submit anywhere in the United States. Languages, religions, ages, gender, everything that we can think of is represented in that workforce. And the one thing that was pretty amazing when we went around the room and people talked about the results of it, one of the things that everybody that worked there said was, you know, there were a lot of people here that I never really knew that I worked with for years and I never talked to. And that by organizing and forming this campaign, I actually realized I actually really like that person that I never talked to before. And I said, wow, this is an interesting thing, right, to think about. And the second thing was in the afternoon with Sue and some other people, I was at a concert at UTEC. And that concert had music, world music. I see Alan right there in the front. And it was a beautiful representation of the city. It was, again, the diversity of Lowell, the culture, the music, the dance, everything that makes Lowell a fantastic place. All of which, despite the election, I'm not going to say the name, all of which, despite the election, should give us hope that we are capable of figuring out how to work together, how to live together, how to protect each other, have each other's backs. And that's what gives me the confidence as we go forward. Thank you.